June 10th, 2021. Coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. This is Breakfast Central.
The African continent is truly awake and ready to go. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Breakfast Central on News Central TV. I am Oluchi Enobong.
Good morning, Africa. Good morning. I am Olisa Chikuma, and we are so delighted to be with you today. It's a colorful breakfast show once again. Thursday, the 10th day of April 2021. We're saying wake up to the continent with a look at the headlines today.
All right, looking at Uganda, where the cabinet members have been revealed.
We'll take you to Sierra Leone, where a miner, gets assaulted.
We will also be touching base in Sudan as the unrest lingers.
In the world of sports, gets ready. It's Djokovic versus Nadal for the French Open semi-finals. Big clash to expect.
We'll be giving you trends we have across the continent of Africa.
Well, all that and more on today's edition of Breakfast Central.
Kuna kallon News Central TV.
Right, you're watching Breakfast Central on News Central today. Now let's bring you some of our top stories. Now, the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, that's Fatou Bensouda, has said developments in Sudan show that the arm of justice is long and patient after making the ICC's first visit to the country's Darfur region in 15 years. Now, speaking to the UN Security Council, Bensouda said the visit rekindled the hope of Resolution 1593, which she urged must not be allowed to extinguish through inaction and half-hearted, ineffective action.
Now, she stressed that the people in Darfur continue to yearn for peace, security, food, water, health, and education. Now, the ICC chief prosecutor, noted that addressing these issues would require the restoration of trust between government authorities and the people of Darfur.
This first ever visit to ICC to Darfur in more than 15 years since this council referred the Darfur situation to my office has rekindled the hope of Resolution 1593. We cannot allow that rekindled light to be extinguished again through our inaction or half-hearted, ineffective action. Darfur victims continue to have hope in us. We must heed their clarion call for the surrender of those wanted by the ICC to face independent, impartial, and fair judicial process that respects all their rights, much as the alleged perpetrators themselves denied rights to the people of Darfur over the years. Justice and accountability in Sudan, including Darfur, cannot be achieved without maintaining security and stability for vulnerable communities. The violence against IDPs, and in particular, women, girls, and children, must stop. I call on the members of the Council and other regional partners to continue to do everything.
All right, we'll move on to Sierra Leone, where a Chinese mine worker at the Dakolili mines has attracted wild condemnation after a video showed him attacking a Sierra Leonean safety officer on site. Now, according to the report, the miner who works with King Ho Mining Company was not pleased with the safety officer and an argument ensued between them, which prompted the officer to react. Let's take a look at the video.
Hey, left, hey. Leave him, he's on record. Hey. He's on record, leave him.
Oh my gosh, quite this stressing scenes there between the miners, employee and employer. This is really, really serious one. But we are now joining us is Abdul Malik Bangura. He is the Public Relations and Media Officer, Kingo Mining Company. Abdul Malik, good morning to you. Welcome to Breakfast Central.
Yeah, good morning, my brother. Good morning, my sister.
Can you just, looking at the video that we've seen, can you tell us exactly what transpired in the video we just watched?
Actually, the Tonkoli iron ore mines is the largest iron ore deposit in Sierra Leone. What happened is that previously, before now, we had several issues with regards to safety, environment, and community. So as a result, what we did was to get a routine safety meetings in almost all the departments in the mining site. That particular department happens to be the mining department, which is operated by the CRSG, which is Chinese Railway 7th Group. In our particular company, Kingho, we have several subcontractors working there. This particular Chinese officer is not an employee of Kingho Mining. He is a subcontractor staff working for CRSG. While the safety officer, whom you see in that video, happens to be a Sierra Leonean worker and is the safety supervisor for Kingho Mining. So he was actually trying to sensitize some of the local staff on site about some of the safety measures that are to be taken in place whenever you are on site. Then the Chinese came and said, no, the guy must stop with the sensitization process, and immediately all the people that were on the orientation exercise should return to their various duty posts. So as a result, the Sierra Leonean refused. That was when you saw the Chinese guy came and then had to push the Sierra Leonean, and then the files and all the papers which had the safety instructions fell on the floor. So that's what caused the confrontation. But in reality, our company, Kingho Mining Company, vehemently and unreservedly condemned every act of violence on site. We actually did not support the Chinese, even though our company is a Chinese company. The CRSG, they are what we call this is a press release. The CRSG, they are subcontractors only for the mines, to mine. We also have other subcontractors there. We have the Wanshi Mining. They are the ones operating the processing plant, and then the TLO. We have Protect, responsible for security. We have several subcontractors working under us. So that particular police worker is a subcontractor. But just yesterday night, let me just confirm this to you. The CRSG issued a press release that they have already dismissed that Chinese officer, while the Sierra Leonean is currently in the hospital.
Wow, Abdul Malik, so he landed in hospital, which means he received serious injuries, perhaps from the weapon, whatever it was that the Chinese staff used in attacking him. But what has been the reaction so far of Sierra Leoneans? And we know that your Kigo has come out with strong statements, and you just told us that the Chinese staff has been, dismissed, reprimanded, and the other staff of Sierra Leone has been in the hospital. But what are people talking about? What are people saying about this case? And it's in terms of employee-employer boss relationship, proceedings in Sierra Leone?
Well, basically, honestly, my brother, a lot of Sierra Leoneans condemn the act of the Chinese worker. And I think that was what changed the decision of CRSG. Initially, CRSG was the first company which issued a press release in the morning hours. CRSG issued a press release in the morning hours. In fact, they blamed the Sierra Leonean for all what happened. That was why in our press release in the afternoon, we said we condemned the statement of CRSG because it prejudiced the investigation process. They went on and said that it was the Sierra Leonean who first attacked the Chinese. We condemned the CRSG statement. That was why CRSG came again with another statement in the evening hours now, which I will share with you later, and then saying that they are going to release the Chinese. In fact, we were the one, because we have the concessional area, we have the license to operate. We told them that this particular guy is not going to be in our site again. So why we always...
All right, Abdul Malik, I mean, with what we're seeing and what has happened, I mean, a lot of people are asking and looking at the effrontery with which the Chinese staff was able to come out and take on such action. Is this the first time such an incident is happening in King O Mining Company, be it with the contract staff or even with the full staff of the company? Is this the first time such an incident is happening?
This is the very first. This is the very first, and it is it's a very, very isolated incident. It has never happened because the unique thing about our mining company is that in King O, most of the top officials are Sierra Leoneans. Most of the top officials, the management, most of the management staff are Sierra Leonean. So over 90% of the workers in the mining site are Sierra Leoneans. So it is very hard for you to have a Chinese dominant to the extent that a Chinese will come and then hit a Sierra Leonean. It has never happened. In our side. It has never happened. We believe in tolerance. We ensure that we comply with the various local statutes, including the local content policy and all the labor laws of Sierra Leone. There has never been a case where a Chinese officer or a Chinese personnel hit a local staff. It has never happened in the operational areas of King O. This is a very isolated incident, and this has been the very first. And that is why we are taking a very, very robust action to ensure that this precedent does not continue. Because if it does, it will be a very bad egg going forward for the operations of the company's project.
All right, so some strong statements now released by your company, King O Mining. Are we saying that in the future, especially for not just for King O Mining, but other multinational companies where you then have foreign staff in Sierra Leone attacking local staff, going to the extent of using weapons to attack? Are we saying this can really nip this in the bud, if ever it can even happen again in Sierra Leone, or in terms of employee and foreign employer and local employee relationships?
Well, I don't want to be pessimistic, but if we are to be optimistic, we believe that this particular action by King Ho to unreservedly condemn the action of a fellow Chinese officer, it must be symbolic to show that we must not condone any act of violence, either perpetrated by any other person. We must all come out as a nation or as a people to condemn any form of violence. It could be me, it could be you, or it could be any other person going forward. But we must all condemn any act of violence. We believe that this action by King O management is a very good precedent to show that other multilateral companies coming into Sierra Leone must create the enabling environment for their locals not to be maltreated. Because even in our constitution, there is a constitutional provision which frowns against inhuman treatment. You cannot subject anyone to inhuman treatment. You must ensure that you protect and uphold the fundamental rights of everyone, be it a Sierra Leonean or a Chinese, in as much as we are trying to create the enabling environment for investors to come into the country.
Thank you so much.
That not used as a conduit pipe
All right,
All right.
Abdulmalik Bangura, thank you so much, Public Relations and Media Officer for Kigo Mining Company in Sierra Leone, for coming up and really clearing this situation with the issue with the Chinese staff and the local there. Quite a terrible incident, but thank you very much for coming on Breakfast Central.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my sister.
All right. Right, from Sierra Leone, we move straight to Uganda, where President Yoweri Museveni on Tuesday night released the long-awaited list of new cabinet ministers and ministers of state. Now, there were some bits of surprises as Museveni appointed his wife, Janet Museveni, the Minister of Education, with more women appointed to major key posts of Vice President and that big role of Prime Minister.
Now, this list has come after the country has gone through or gone on more than 3 weeks without a cabinet after Museveni dissolved the one in place on the day of his swearing-in, which was on May 12 of 2021. Now, this list includes 32 cabinet ministers and 50 state ministers, including his wife, yes, just as we said, Janet Museveni, who was appointed as the Minister of Education. Now, the 76-year-old Museveni was re-elected president of Uganda in an election that took place on January 14 for 2021.
All right, so there you have it. In terms of 82 names made the cabinet, with a good number of women and you know, the likes of the vice president for 10 years, Sekandi, and also, well, we talked about it that yesterday on the program. Lots of women making it in terms of the shortlist, which many were already leaked, you know, earlier in the week. But that's really, many will say, in terms of the gender parity in Uganda, that Museveni, who people have talked about him being perhaps, you know, a bit old-fashioned, has really changed, turned the corner here to really, I'm shocked, really.
Looking at the situation of things, I mean, it comes to mixed feelings in terms of a lot of people are happy and excited that he has more female or a good number of females this time around as against the male. Now, the other one which would raise a lot of questions is his wife, Janet Museveni, who is the Minister of Education.
Are you surprised?
Well, shouldn't we be surprised? I mean, we're in an age and century where a lot of people are coming out to ask a lot of questions, especially when you're putting family members in positions that are quite questionable. Now, the Attorney General, which is William Bayaruhanga, was replaced with the President's personal lawyer, Kayowa Kinwanuka. And this has raised concerns on the prompt delivery of fair justice, especially if the President is involved.
Big question, what are Ugandans, you know, saying about this development? That's one thing. We'll continue to follow right here on Breakfast Central. We'll talk to some of our friends and brothers and sisters in Uganda, and also journalists to get their feel about it and what it does mean for women in power, women in politics, women in parliament in the East African nation. Right, still Breakfast Central on News Central. Today is a Thursday. We know many parts of Africa, particularly West Africa, we are having the rainy season. I really wonder what the papers have been talking about it and what it might also mean for famine, you know.
Flood.
You know,
I mean, we need to prepare for that. You know, it's almost like a broken record where every year we're complaining about the same thing that we know happens at a particular time of the year. We know at this time of the year there'll be lots of rains. It has been predicted that as the years go by, the rains get heavier, the water becomes heavier, and yet we always have the same problems and we keep crying about it. Is it rocket science? And
from east to west, I know in our parts, you know, of West Africa, you know, the heavens have been opening up into the 10th day of June, and it will get on and on and on. Up until July, before we have the August break. So really how it affects vegetation, how it affects our plans for harvesting, and also how
prepared are we for
prepared,
that?
Yes, and also for other places like the Horn of Africa, Somalia, Sudan, East Africa, Tanzania. They've also had, you know, problems about locusts in this time of the year. In the last two years, you know, swarms of locusts eating crops. But they talked about global warming, also the El Nino effect going on in different parts of Africa.
So layer depletion.
Yes, climate change is clearly here, and perhaps we hope that we don't get more rains and flooding, especially if we live in Lagos, Nigeria.
All right, moving on, we have this story in Nigeria, West Africa, where Nigeria's Minister of Information and Culture, that is Alhaji Lai Mohammed, has disclosed the readiness of Twitter, yes, for engagement with the federal government after the government suspended the operations of the microblogging site just last week, Friday. Now, speaking with correspondents after the weekly Federal Executive Council, that is the FEC meeting, Mohammed said Twitter had reached out to the government, of course, seeking high-level discussion to resolve the issue.
Now, the minister stressed that the microblogging platform Twitter was suspended because it provided an avenue for people threatening, in their words, the corporate existence of Nigeria, and listed what they've termed conditions that must be met, even if there's a discussion with Twitter, including that it must now be, well, registered in Nigeria as a business concern.
Now, apart from Twitter, he said other social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram must be registered in the country. Now, the minister maintained that freedom of speech has not been stifled by the suspension of Twitter, as Nigerians can still use other platforms such as Facebook and Instagram.
All right, so joining us right now is our head of research and monitoring desk, Abdulateef Ahmed. Abdulateef, good morning to you. You have been busy following every day, sleepless nights since the Twitter shutdown. And I wonder how you've also been coping with your research and monitoring so far so good. But what's the latest now, now that we have Lai Mohammed saying that Twitter has reached out to them and there are conditions that Nigerian government will give Twitter to register here as a business before perhaps even talk about lifting the ban?
Okay, so there are legitimate concerns that social media platforms where people do businesses and people communicate, exchange ideas, and discuss about concerns that affect them directly. And sometimes it is probably the easiest or the safest place to announce emergencies and get people to act or respond to certain initiatives. However, the concern of government about trying to regulate or trying to put things the way they want it in such a way that they feel the country is safer, well, on the outside, that is fine. However, in terms of implementation, they may want to whip up laws that seek to gag popular opinions and direct discussions in their own favor. Social media is difficult to regulate because sometimes you have terrorist groups using it as platform to push their agenda. But when you consider the number of people who are using such mediums to earn legitimately, to interact, to rub minds, then you begin to wonder why you need to put all of these checks on social media platforms.
All right, now looking at what you just said and looking at the business side of it, I mean, from the information we've gotten from our business desk from NAS, it says 2 billion naira was lost per day that in Twitter, I beg your pardon, not Instagram, that Twitter was shut down. Now, looking at situations like this, does the pro not outweigh the con in this kind of scenario?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, considering the condition of the country at the moment, and the entire world at the moment seeking to move out of the economic quagmire that a lot of people are facing, you will wonder why a government that is interested in improving the lives of people will not weigh the losses that are being incurred on an hourly basis while this ban lasts. So it's something that the government should look into beyond certain rules for Twitter. I mean, because if you really want to regulate, you should be asking, for example, what happens to other platforms? How do you regulate WhatsApp, for example? How do you regulate Instagram? Yes, you can register these businesses, these social media platforms, but you shouldn't gag people from talking. You shouldn't gag people from exchanging ideas and promoting their businesses.
Well, Latif, one of the quotes from Lai Mohammed's office about why the ban came, they said threatening the corporate existence of Nigeria, because many Nigerians, perhaps, look twice when they heard that statement, because if they look at things that are threatening the corporate existence, they have to look at the situation of insecurity, and not particularly online on the Twitter space. But beyond that, Latif, we talked about freedom of expression, freedom of speech being clamped down here. But on the other hand, the government also have active governance handles that they themselves cannot access, and even their diplomatic presence on Twitter is all down because of this ban. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, so that is it. It's like shooting yourself in the foot. In trying to ban or stop people from access to Twitter, there are lots of people across the world who monitor activities in the country, who try to get an access or have an idea of what is going on across various sectors in the economy, from IT to governance to open space, to democracy, to civil engagement. They monitor some of these things by the engagements they find on Twitter and other social media platforms. So it's essentially doing themselves in by gagging or trying to stop people from accessing the most popular vehicle for communication, among young people in Nigeria.
All right, Abdulatif Ahmed, thank you very much. We hope that now that they've said that Twitter has reached out to them and they have given Twitter constitutions, that perhaps we might have our Twitter handles back again, and not perhaps start thinking about VPN disruptions.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much, Abdulatif Ahmed, once again, our research and monitoring desk. Thank you.
All right, yes, you're still watching Breakfast Central. Now let's take you through the review of our newspapers that we have for you today, 10th of June for 2021.
Right, let's go straight to the morning papers today. Thursday, we'll start in Nigeria with the Daily Trust's newspaper to see what they have. Oh, Twitter still rings again. So federal government says that Twitter, Facebook, others must get license from the NBC, which is Nigeria's National Broadcasting Corporation. I really wonder if that is their purview it says registration with CAC mandatory despite making billions. Twitter pays no tax. They've contacted us for dialogue, says Lai Mohammed, and Donald Trump urges other countries to emulate Twitter, really. Okay, so there you have it on the front page. And also at the bottom, there you have a Senate under attack over resolution to screen Buhari's aid, says Honor Chair. More on that on the front page and inside the Daily Trust in Nigeria. All
right, moving from Nigeria, we're heading to Kenya, looking at the Standard newspaper this morning. And all up in the Standard newspaper, you have Maraga, who says, "We are on the road to anarchy." Now, I need to read a quote that is also put up here. It says, "It's the role of Parliament to take steps and remove him," which is Uhuru, "if he violates the Constitution. If this act are allowed to continue, we are descending into a banana republic." So it says in the paper this morning. That's the Standard newspaper for you. Also looking at the Standard, one of the stories that's been trending, it says Macron's attack, not the first on leaders. Now, I know that viral video has been everywhere on the internet. Now, it says that the French president's attack is not an isolated case. From ducking a flying shoe to suffering a broken nose, sitting heads of state have faced the people's wrath. That's what it says on page 3 of the Standard. Now, also on the Standard, it says why eating meat is not too bad after all. You have more of this on the Standard, from the Standard, I beg your pardon, in Kenya this morning.
Well, still in East Africa, we go to Uganda's New Vision, the morning paper there in Uganda, to greet us on this wonderful Thursday morning. And there you have it. It says expert analysis and stories about the cabinet, and more on the women who are featuring there. So it says why Museveni picked Alupo and Mabanja. So you have the pictures of both ladies. That's Rabina Mabanja on the left and Jessica Alupo on the right. Also on the far right, there you have Jenna Museveni, that's the wife of the president, on what Lonyanya's win means for Parliament. So all about the parliamentary discussions on having women really fronting it this time in this government. And also says second wave COVID-19, highly infectious out there in Uganda. All that and more on the new vision in the country.
All right, we're moving to the South African paper that is a Sowetan paper. And it says here, hijacking nightmare in the East. That's what it says in the paper on page 2. It says motorists in Springs, Cluster Township under siege from hijacking gang. That's what it says. Now, lovers in secluded spots and people leaving pubs late at night are targeted. It says here in the Sowetan papers for you to read. Also, on page 6 from the Sowetan papers, it says, sorry for killing Precious, says rapist. Sorry for killing Precious, says rapist. All this and more you'll find in the Sowetan paper for you to read this morning. All right, and that's it for the newspaper review for today, June 10, for the year of 2021. Looking at good oral hygiene, it is very necessary to keep the teeth and the gum healthy. It involves habits such as brushing twice a day and having regular dental checkups. However, oral health is more than just looking at the cavities and the gum disease.
Well, some spouses, and this is where it gets interesting, some spouses, and I mean spouses, married or sometimes unmarried, some say, share just about everything from most important events in their lives to water cooler gossip from their respective jobs. They also share ups and downs and maybe even share clothes. Okay, fine. But one question is, should you share a toothbrush? Toothbrush with your spouse. Now, here are some thoughts of Lagosians on sharing toothbrush with their spouse, whether they like it or not. Enjoy.
Can you share a toothbrush with your wife and why?
No, I can't share toothbrush with my wife. For health reason.
There are some viruses you can get through toothbrush.
Considering what is happening recently, issue of COVID-19, you understand. So one wouldn't know who does it, who have it and who does not have it, you understand. So health-wise, I don't think I can be able to share my toothbrush or my sponge with her.
I don't think I would. I just don't like the idea of sharing toothbrush. Toothbrush is very easy to get, so why share toothbrush?
Really, I can't.
It depends. If your wife believes that she should maintain her brush and the husband to have that understanding that he should maintain his brush, fine. But if there is an understanding that I can use mine, you can use yours.
Yes, it's possible.
Yes, I can share it with my wife. Reason being that she's my wife one, and the same mat she's going to use to brush, I kiss the mat all day, so it's something that I can share with.
Toothbrush. I don't think I can. I can't share. Everything should end in kissing.
I'll share a toothbrush with my wife. And why? Because she's my wife, she's my partner. Because I love her, so I'll share my toothbrush with her.
Because both of us are one.
No, I won't, and no reason. I just feel it's not right. Everyone should have their own toothbrush.
Oh my gosh. So there you have it. A good spread, Vox Pop wise. Lagosians talking about if they will share a toothbrush with their spouse.
Olisa, will you share your toothbrush with your partner or your spouse?
I think I'll go with one of the ladies in the Vox Pop that said, let it end in kissing.
Come on, but it says the two shall become one. I mean, there's really nothing wrong in sharing a toothbrush with your partner.
Do you share a toothbrush with your spouse?
Oh, yes, I do. In fact, I think I used one this morning with him.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. But it's fun sometimes. It just happens. Nobody's saying it should be an everyday thing.
Why should there be only one toothbrush why? There should be two more. There's variety. Why should we be sharing?
You're still watching Breakfast Central on News Central TV. Coming up next.
All right, trend waves across Africa. We'll tell you about it.
And in the world of sport, Djokovic and Nadal set for French final opening.
And programs to watch on News Central much later today.
You're still watching Breakfast Central on News Central TV. You can follow us on all social media platforms. We're at News Central TV on Instagram, Facebook, And yes, we're still on Twitter and YouTube. Let's now join Elizabeth Musa for more or for some of the trends across the continent of Africa. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning, Oluchi. How are you this morning? Olisa, how are you?
Doing great, Liz. Morning.
All right. Great.
What's trending?
So let's go straight to Ghana, where Ghanaians are at it again, and they're, pushing the hashtag Fix the Country. So you know that this hashtag has been on for a while. It started in May, and then they had to, they piped it down for a bit, and then they're back on the hashtag again. And it seems to be a time of renaissance in Africa, where many people are taking the protest from social media. They're now taking it to the streets, where they're like, you know what, we can't continue these agitations online. We have to move to the street. People are dissatisfied with what is currently going on, and you know what, they're like, you know what, we have to take these things to the street. It's a very interesting time, and the hashtag is Fix the Country, as you can see. So that's what's up in Ghana at the moment.
Okay, Liz, so Fix the Country hashtag, is it on Twitter or is it trending on Facebook or Instagram?
Lisa. Why do you want to know where it's trending exactly? I told you it's on the streets
hashtags
now.
go across all different types of social media. So which one? Maybe
maybe offline and online. Only.
So I've said it to you that it's now on the streets. It's no longer on social media. They've moved on. Okay. So it started off on social media. That's the hashtag Fix the Country. And now they've taken the banners to the streets, where they're now clamoring for justice, good governance, and everything that they want from the government.
Which particular social media?
From Twitter to Facebook to Instagram, everything.
Okay. All right. Away from Ghana, what's also going on? We hear that popular luxury designer.
I mean, it's about a shoe, I think, and I know the shoe is something I've seen somewhere. It's suddenly trending. Elizabeth, can you tell us some more about this?
So you know what, Oluchi, I want to ask you a question before I come straight to this. Would you put on a designer Balenciaga croc? Will you put on?
If I'm comfortable in it, maybe.
Hello,
So
I'm lost here.
currently
Balenciaga croc? What's a croc? I'm lost.
You don't know what a croc is? You see it on your screen right now.
Oh,
Those
okay.
are croc shoes. Those are crocs.
No, these are now croc heels.
These are now croc heels.
Are those not slippers or slip-ons? Why are they called crocs?
Crocs, that's the name for that footwear. Without the heels, though.
Without the heels,
yeah, because
it's flat format.
Move around in the house, on the street.
Honestly, they're the most ugly pairs of slippers. I've been seeing them everywhere. People are wearing them. They're
highly comfortable.
They are very comfortable. That's the good thing about Crocs. The people call them ugly, but they keep buying them. That's the thing about Crocs. So currently, the popular luxury design, I'm taking you out of the continent now, where Balenciaga might be taking unconventional style a notch higher, as it has now released its new spring collection. In this collection, they have collaborated with the famous Crocs, and now die-hard fans have to make a choice, because this pair of footwear, I don't know what to make of it. So the collection actually comes in green, black, and gray, and it's a combination of the normal foam clog, which is that, and a stiletto heel placed on the back, which has quite provoked a reaction from users of the internet. And let me tell you what, that footwear you're seeing there is about $1,000.
Yepa.
That's almost like 315,000 naira. So would you? What do you make? So Olisa, that's the actual croc.
Okay. And because male and females, men and women do wear Crocs, right?
Yes.
But this one now with stilettos, with the heels, I'm sure it's for
women.
It's for women.
Okay.
And trust me, people are, it's selling out fast. Trust me. So, let's
have you bought? I should trust you. Have you bought?
I don't know if I have that money yet. I'm not sure if I have that
if you could afford it, Liz, do you wear Crocs first of all? Do you wear Crocs, the flats, normally?
On a normal day, it's not really my thing, to be honest. But they're very comfortable. I have one that my friend gave to me, so I put it on at home. But I didn't go to purchase it myself.
All right. So would you wear a Croc with the stilettos? Balenciaga.
Look at that thing. Looks a bit. It looks. I'm not sure what I think about it. Like, what event is it? To a dinner? Is it to work? I don't know where to place. This is like a rubber footwear with heels, so it's a bit confusing.
No, but why did they wear Crocs to? I thought Crocs was for
indoors.
Indoors,
Indoors to for errands, to go on the street to purchase something. But let's take some of the reactions that people are making about this pair.
Are the reactions on Twitter?
I don't know where the reaction is from, but this reaction is from somewhere. So this says this marks the second collaboration between Balenciaga and Crocs. The first being the platform Crocs from the initially before now they had this rain boot pair of Crocs that they collaborated to make with.
Yeah, those are the popular Wellingtons. Those are Wellington boots.
This is actually the Balenciaga version where they did something rain boots. But let's take more reactions for this. So that's one. It says, I just saw that Crocs teamed up with Balenciaga to create stiletto Crocs. Like, please, why? They're so ugly, just why? And that person is crying. That's Chloe. And this is from Ned Loves. It says, I'm not buying the Balenciaga Crocs, even if I see Rihanna wearing them, because of course we know Rihanna is the absolute style star. So that's how she feels. More tweets from, this is from Steffi. It says, all I want for my birthday are the Balenciaga Crocs. And then one more says, stop telling me I should get the Balenciaga Crocs unless you're going to bankroll them, babe. $850 US dollars, not including tax.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Lizzie, for the latest. At least I've got an education. I know what Crocs are now. I see them all the time. I don't know they call them Crocs. And I know they have Crocs with stilettos. So at least I know.
And then you can go ahead and purchase it for your girlfriend.
You know what?
Which one?
I think I'll get you the Crocs because they have the male version of it. I will get you one so you can understand just how comfortable it can be.
All right, guys. Nice being here today.
Thank you very much, Liz, for the latest on the trend wave. All right, still all right here on Breakfast Central. We have something to show you now, and this one is What Was That? Check it out. Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
It makes me wonder, was it even necessary for him to go to the gym?
Yeah.
What was he looking for?
I wonder how many kilograms he was trying to. Well, he does look like having a very slim, slender, frail build. So.
And it looks like he hasn't been going to the gym at all. I mean, look at that.
And he was pulled,
Was he trying to impress a lady in the background somewhere?
I don't think so, but he should have been pulling as much as 8. But that shouldn't lift such a... No.
The irony of it is you can see the other 2 men in the background. They just seem to be carrying on their regular activity.
Both feet left the ground.
Lifted up.
Wow. Oh my God. It should be pulling
uplifting.
It should be pulling at least nothing more than 10 kg. So do not try that at home.
No,
if you've not, have eaten well or have the right muscles to do that. I'm not going to be doing that. All right, and I think that's fair. That takes us straight to sports. Right, so let's go straight to some sports, shall we? We'll start with world number 1 out there in the French Open, Novak Djokovic. He's through to the semi-finals. It was a hard-fought match. He clearly roared last night after, fighting to beat Matteo Berrettini of Italy 6-3, 6-2, 6-7, 7-5. It was a game that was delayed because fans had to be ushered out because of an 11 p.m. curfew out there in France. And they were not happy. They booed when they were told to leave because the match was still going on. But him, at the end of the day, won the match quite late, past 11 p.m. last night. So he's through to the semi-finals, where he'll be facing arch-rival, yes, none other than Rafa Nadal, the Spaniard who is the 13th-time winner and defending champion. He's also through earlier yesterday after beating Diego Schwartzman of Argentina 6-3, 4-6, 6-4, 6-love. So what it then means is that we'll be seeing Nadal and Djokovic for the 58th time in their careers. These two have played themselves. So it's basically the final before the final. They're meeting in the semi-finals, and it will be an epic clash tomorrow. So good luck to those two when it comes to the French Open semi-finals for tomorrow. Well, let's check out the results, male and female, when it comes to the French Open, as we saw them yesterday. So Djokovic and Nadal through, and then also when it comes, yes, so there you have it, Nadal, who's the 3rd seed, and Djokovic, who's the number 1 seed, and obviously world number 1. Let's check out the women's results for the ones that qualified yesterday. So the likes of Barbora Krejcikova, she's through. She knocked out the young teenager Corey Goff, and Maria Sakkari defeated defending champion Iga Swiatek, who's the 8th seed, 6-4, 6-4, which means that the highest ranking person in the semi-finals is Maria Sakkari of Greece. She's the 17th seed. So good luck to them when they go for the semi-finals tomorrow. We're looking forward to big finals, both for men and women this weekend when it comes to the French Open. And that's it right here on Sports on Breakfast.
All right, before we go on the show today, we will be showing you some of the programs that you can look forward to later on News Central TV. All right, by 11 a.m. West African time, we have Business Edge with Tolulokwe Adelere Balogun.
At 1 p.m. is Beyond the Continent, News Beyond Africa. Don't miss it.
And 5 p.m. West African time, we have Below the Skyline. Don't miss it.
All right, so we go take you beyond the continent. We also go below the skyline. What do we not do right here on News Central? That's our package. Thank you very much for watching. We've clearly enjoyed ourselves today. We haven't we? Shout out to President Buhari, who we hear is in Lagos, today. Shout out.
Well, listen, you need to share your toothbrush with your partner.
Okay, we'll I rest my case on that. We'll see you tomorrow on a Friday. Bye-bye.
Adama, you really need to.